Welcome to Enter the Paraverse. I'm psychic medium Kimmy Angelique, and today I wanted to talk about soulmates and twin flames. I don't know if this happens to you, but early in the morning, Spirit wanted to wake me up and said, you need to talk about this. So do you ever get messages in the weirdest of times and you just don't know what to do? Should you write it down? Are you dreaming still? Like, what the hell is going on? Well, Spirit woke me up way too early this morning and said, you need to do a show about soulmates and twin flames, because this is something that we all think about. We all want love in our life, and we want to know that the person we're with or the person that we see ourselves with is worthy of our love. We want to know if we should have time spent with them or if it's going to last. And so I wanted to kind of talk about, first of all, the differences between twin flames and soulmates, because so many times they get mixed up, but they really are two totally different things. And there's a lot of misconceptions out there, for instance, that soulmates are those who you're meant to be with. So the Mr. Right, did you see that orb? Or Mrs. Right, or whatever, the one that you're supposed to be with until you die, you know, the person you marry. Now, it can be a romantic relationship, but soulmates are a little different. So believe it or not, soulmates can be friends. So soulmates, let me just define them first off. Soulmates are those who are kind of in our soul group. We share a soul contract. So we come, we incarnate, and we incarnate, and we have a goal. Our goal is to teach each other lessons to help our soul enhance. And so we have friends that are soulmates. We have romantic partners that are soulmates. We have teachers and mentors, and believe it or not, even strangers. We may come across a stranger that we'll never see again, but there is something that they said that resonates with us, and it's something that stays with us for the rest of our life. And so these soulmates, we come about them in order for our soul to grow, to learn lessons that we're here to learn, to help guide us on our journey to figure out who we are, what we want, what our purpose in life is, and obviously an enlightenment. So soulmates can be anyone. They can be in your life for a lifetime. They can be in your life for a day, an hour. They can be friends who we share our most deepest and intimate thoughts. They can be lovers who come in for a few months and then leave, and we never see them again. There's so many different types of soulmates, but the common denominator is that they come to help us grow. We learn lessons from that relationship. And they're not always easy relationships. Sometimes they're, bad relationships that hurt us so much. We go through depression or whatever it is, but we end up realizing that through that horrible relationship, there was a lesson in that. I needed to learn first how to love myself before I could give my heart to another. Or maybe being in such a horrible relationship helped kind of push me onto my spiritual path. So you see what I'm saying? So we don't necessarily have to have the best of relationships with soulmates, but one thing that they all do is they teach us a lesson, whether it be meeting a spiritual person at a party and talking to them, and there's just something about them and their message that resonates with you, and you'll never ever forget the conversation that you had with them, and you'll never see them again, but there's something that they said that just helps change your thought process. It just opens you up in some way. So there's so many different types of soulmates. There's so many different types of relationships. Some are good, some are bad, some are indifferent, but we all learn something more about ourselves. So that's just a brief overview of what a soulmate is. And they're very important, very important. So don't minimize how important they are, even if it's just for an hour or a day or a lifetime. They're very important for the growth of our soul, for the growth of our person, who we want to be, who we want to be for others and for ourselves, the things we want to learn. You may meet somebody who's teaching a lecture and there's this connection you have with them and they change your whole entire world with the things that they're saying, and it just resonates so deeply with them. They very well can be a soulmate that was destined to be on your path in order to get you to where you need to be. So that's all I'll say about soulmates for now. I'm sure we'll talk more about them. And before I get into what a twin flame is, so Spirit woke me up this morning saying you have to do a show about this. And so obviously with the theme of it, not obviously, but so I'm drinking out of a cup that said, "It is well with my soul." So I felt that was very fitting. And I have some incense popping in the back. So I have rose incense for love, and I have sex and love incense. So I want to move over to the twin flame. So this is the big one. Some people think that the twin flame and the soulmate are the same, but that's not the case at all. And I'm very curious, so feel free to send me comments on what your thoughts are about this. Some believe that twin flames share the same soul. It very well could be. They say that they're halves of one soul. Some believe that they are two separate souls, but they're so intertwined that they feel as one. So do we really know what it is? I don't know, but when you find your twin flame, I think you'll understand what it means to you. So twin flames, why do they call them twin flames? To have someone's soul, or they mirror each other. So yin and yang, that type of thing. So when you meet your twin flame, your twin soul, or your mirror soul, there's different words for it. They mirror back all of your flaws as well as your strengths. That doesn't sound too good, does it? But there's a reason for that. So a twin flame is such an intense soul connection. It's someone who is challenging at worst, but so effing healing at best. And they teach us how to be better people. They teach us how to be better souls. And it's not an easy relationship. So I wanted to go through the signs that you found your soul, your twin flame, but also the stages that you go through when you're with your twin flame, because this is not an easy relationship. Okay, so don't get cute on me. All right, this is not an easy relationship. It's amazing when it's amazing, but it's fucking horrible when it's bad, let me tell you. But if you can get that shit together, trust, the end result is so worth it. It is so worth it. So let me get in. First of all, let me get a sip of this because we're gonna be talking for a minute, and I got all these incense popping. So okay, it is well with my soul. I just feel like I need to tell you that. I know that there's some people out there who are searching for their other half. Some have given up. Some feel like they lost their other half and there's nothing in the future for them. But I want to take this minute to say that nothing is final. Please don't put any expectations on your life of when you need to be with somebody, because you need to figure out who you are first and what you truly want. But you need to love yourself first. And I know that's so fucking cliche, and I'm sorry to say it, but it's so true. You need to figure out your shit first before you can share it with anybody. But if you put it in your heart and in your intentions, the type of person you're looking for, the soulmate or the twin flame that you need in your life, I truly believe that you can call it into you. You can call them into you. And so I just want to say, whatever you're going through now, whether it be depression, loneliness, stress, anxiety, just giving up, whatever it is, even if you're happy, I just want to say that you're loved, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you, one, because you're watching me, but I just appreciate you, the unique you that you are. So I just felt like I needed to say that. And I know that I'm probably saying that to myself as well. So sending you all love. But let's get into signs that you found your twin flame. And again, like I said, they're not easy. The things that you go through with your twin flame is fucking hard as hell. Let me tell you, I'm not sugarcoating shit for you. So we're gonna get into it, okay? So usually when you find your twin flame, there's an instant connection. And I'm not talking about, okay, I'm getting to know somebody and now there's a connection. I feel like we've known each other before. I feel like we have a spiritual connection or something like that. Everybody and their mama has a fucking spiritual connection, okay? I'm not talking about that type of connection, and that's all good and well. I'm talking about the instant you meet somebody, it's like, boom, what the hell just happened? Who the hell, what the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? There's an instant connection with them. And don't feel bad if you haven't, did I just see an orb? If you haven't found your twin flame. Some people believe that not everybody finds their twin flame, and some people believe that everybody finds their twin flame. But they don't have to be a romantic relationship. Most of the time they are, but they don't have to be. So don't put labels on anything. Just listen. Hopefully you're learning a little something, and maybe some of this resonates with you. But again, don't stress yourself out about anything regarding relationships, okay? Just set your intentions for what you want and just send love with it and let it go. Anyway, instant connection. There's also being very familiar. There's a lot of similarities between the two of you. And it's not something where you talk about it and you're like, oh yeah, I like that. It's almost as if while they were going through things in life, you were going through the same exact things. And so when you meet, it's like, holy shit, that happened to me. Oh my God, I also had a bad childhood, or yeah, at that age, that similar event happened to me. Like, things, just so many similarities that it's freaking crazy, right? So there's that. And the reason for that is when you're two halves of a whole or whatever, you're learning very identical lessons. You may not learn the lessons at the same time. You could, but somewhere along your life, you will be learning very similar lessons. And listen to what I'm saying. Not having experiences, but learning lessons. Keyword, lessons, okay? And they're not easy lessons, but there's something that you need to learn in order for your soul to evolve, to be enlightened, okay? Another thing is that you and your twin flame will complement each other. So there are areas where you may be very similar, but there are also areas where you're very different. You're so different that you're almost the exact opposite. How does that complement each other? Well, in a relationship, if one person has a strength of this, but the other one doesn't, well, that person teaches the other one to learn that strength. Vice versa, if the other person has a strength and the other one has a weakness, they teach each other so that they're both balanced. So this is what complementing each other is. Where one is strong, the other one may be weak, but you're learning from each other so that you're both moving in the right direction, you know? So it's not like, okay, one person is horrible at communicating, the other one is really good, and it just stays that way. No, together they learn how to communicate with each other. Maybe one is more emotional and the other one isn't. Well, then that person will teach the other one how to have more feelings and more empathy. And they may not be the exact level, but they help each other. So they're helping each other grow. There's also this magnetic feeling, this when you're not with them, there's a pull. You want to be very close to them. You always want to be in their presence. When you're not there, it's almost like something is missing. It's almost like you just want to be home. They're home for you. So there's this magnetic feeling, and when you're apart, it just doesn't feel right. Even if you convince yourself that you need to be somewhere else, when you're not with them, when your relationship is not right, it just feels off. It just, you can't help it, you know? So there's this magnetic pull that you have. I don't say none of these, but a lot of these don't sound like really good qualities, right? But there's a method to the madness, okay? So another quality or another trait that you found your soulmate is that this person, or you both amplify your insecurities. So if you have trust issues, oh my God, let me tell you, when you're with your soulmate, you ain't trusting shit, okay? And you're like, why? You know, this is a good person, but this is all part of the lesson. This is all part of the growth. So you have these insecurities and they actually amplify. So if you had bad communication skills before them, oh my God, you basically don't talk at all, okay? And if you know, have depression, you know, you don't think that you're worthy, you don't think yourself attractive, you are completely shut down and just hate yourself, and you're depressed, and you think that not only do I not like myself, but they don't like me either. Why? Another orb. This is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm telling you, spirit is telling me that I need to talk about this. So you're going to see their presence. They're helping me through this right now, because it's something they said that I need to talk about. So why would we want to be with someone who amplifies our insecurities? It's not because we like to be extra about shit. It's because when we amplify them, at some point, we got to figure out, like, holy shit, this is what I'm feeling, or this is what I'm doing. This is the vibe that I give off. So when our shit is amplified, and I'm sorry, I'm passionate about this, but when our feelings and our emotions are amplified, at some point they're going to boil over, and we have to sit there and look at ourselves and say, why do I feel this way? What in my past drove me to this behavior? And more importantly, if I feel this certain way, is this twin flame, this person, helping create those feelings, or are these feelings unfounded? So see how we're learning about ourselves. And if we weren't with our twin flame, believe it or not, we wouldn't learn these lessons. So this is actually a good thing for us. It sucks ass, but it's actually a really good thing for us, because it's going to help us along the way to break these bad habits. Another sign that you're with your twin flame is that the relationship is not easy at all. It is a very, very tumultuous relationship. There's a lot of arguing, and you're constantly confronting each other with your shortcomings. And it's not because you want to put that person down. It's not because you don't like them. In fact, you love them with all your heart. But we confront them, but we're really confronting ourselves as well. So there are times when maybe we feel the other person is doing a certain action and we don't like it. And so we want to talk about it. And they don't want to talk about it because they feel like they're being attacked. That's not your intent at all, but they feel like they're being attacked, so they're coming at you. Well, one, are they really doing these things, or are you just emotional? I can say for myself, I'm a little bit of both. Okay, sometimes I do feel like I am being attacked, and sometimes I'm like, kind of fuck down. You know what I mean? It's not that serious. But if you feel like these things are happening all the time, you want to talk about it, you want to get them out in the open so that you can move on. But they also make us stop and think about ourselves. Why do we feel that this bothers us? Is it really that big of a deal? If it is, then great. You should be talking about it with the person that you're with, because they should know how you feel. But if it's not a big deal, then what is it with you? Why is that a trigger? What's going on with you internally? It could be unfounded, or it could be that that similar behavior happened in the past and it's something you haven't healed from. So that's something to think about. So again, you see how the twin flame is actually constantly helping us learn these lessons. When you're in a relationship with the twin flame, it doesn't seem like you're learning lessons. It just seems like, why the hell is this relationship so damn hard? There's no lack of love. There's none. In fact, you probably highly respect each other. You obviously have this crazy ass intense connection that you can't even describe. They feel like home for you. So why the hell can't you two get it together? Like, why? It's because you're meant to teach each other how to be better people. It's a very hard relationship, but it's so worth it if you know what to look for. The problem is that we don't know what to look for. And so we just live our lives thinking, damn, this is the fucking hardest relationship ever. I don't think I want to be in this. But if we know what to look for and expect in a twin flame relationship, then these lessons, these symptoms, these traits will become more of a, okay, I get it. So that's why I feel like spirit really wants me to talk about this, because some of the bad relationships you may have out there may actually be twin flame relationships, and you may be underestimating how good these people are for you. Now, I'm not talking about controlling relationships. I'm not talking, abusive relationships. I'm talking about those who really make us search, make us think. Heated conversations, sometimes you can get through to a person and there's like a holy shit moment in there. Okay. So I want to go in. So we talked about, the relationship being very intense, it's tumultuous, there's this instant connection, there's this magnetic feel, but there's also a connection that seems very spiritual, divine, cosmic, karmic. So if you believe in past lives, or have gone through a past life regression, these twin flames very well could have been a partner in a previous life. I would probably go as far as to say you probably had relationships with them in multiple lives, because you are two halves, supposedly, of one soul, or at least an oversoul. So, you know, you have this one thing and then you're both kind of combining your souls there. And so there's something deep within. If you're a spiritual person who's very open, you may even feel an energetic pull. I know you saw that. Spirit, does that mean that I was correct on that? So you feel this pull to them, this, why do you feel so meant for me? Or why do we have such similarities? Why do we get constant confirmations that we're supposed to be together, even when we feel like this relationship isn't easy? But we're constantly getting these signs from the universe that we're meant to be together. That's a sign that there's some type of karmic connection. You're supposed to be together to learn something, to help each other out. There's also the psychic connection. So do you have a psychic connection with this individual to where sometimes, you know, not even sometimes, a lot of the times, they say the very things that you're thinking. In fact, they may even beat you to the punch. So you may be like, damn it, I was just about to say that. Like, why? Where did you get that from? Like, how are you thinking the same exact thing that I am? And I'm not talking about once in a while. I'm talking about this stuff happens all the time. You think something, they do it. They think something, you do it. Or you're talking about something and then you both say the same word, or the same thing happened to you in the same day. There's so many different psychic connection hits that it's like, this is really weird. It's so weird that you can't even ignore it. It is a constant thing, and it has always been that way. Now, with all of that said, and a lot of that doesn't sound positive, the ultimate trait of being in a relationship with your twin flame is that throughout all of that shit, and I will say shit because it feels like that, you are constantly pushing each other to be better. You support each other in your goals, in striving for better, for higher learning, even spirituality. You may both be very spiritual people, and you don't have to be, but you may have very similar goals, and maybe you can't reach your goal at the time, but you're pushing the other to do it. I believe in you. I support you. I'm here for you. And there's never a time in the relationship where either one of you isn't achieving or wanting to achieve some type of goal that the other one isn't trying to promote your happiness. Even if that happiness hurts you, you want the other one to be happy regardless. And that is huge, because if you're in a relationship where the other one doesn't want your happiness, I mean, it's great to say that you want to put somebody else's happiness before you. That's great. That's noble. But equally, you both want each other to be happy, even if it means not being together. And I'm not saying that that's easy. It's probably one of the hardest things you'll ever do in your life. But if you feel that you're with your twin flame, you only want the best for them. You can have your selfish moments and want to be with them, but you, at the end of the day, want their happiness above all else. So those are some of the signs. There's so many more, but if that resonates with you, then you very well could have found your twin flame. So we want to also talk about the different phases in your relationship with the twin flame, because some of these phases will happen multiple times. So don't think that this is chronological order. It very well can be, okay, we're doing stage 1 and then stage 3 and then 5 and then back to 4, and it can repeat. So this is where you're going to really know if you're with a twin flame, because these stages or phases, whatever you want to call it, are very distinct and completely different than any relationship you've ever had. So listen up, take notes. If you're in a relationship like this, stop what you're doing. Think about what you want, how you feel. You very well could have found your twin flame. And we want to talk about how to make the relationship better. If you're not in a relationship with them and you were at some point, don't fret. There's usually multiple times that you can get this relationship back, and in best case scenarios, end up being the life partner with this twin flame and living out the rest of your days with each other, whether in a romantic relationship or a strong companionship. So let's talk about the phases. So obviously there's the awareness that there's somebody out there for you. Now, everybody has the awareness that they have somebody that they want to share their life with, that they want to be with somebody. But with a twin flame, there's a yearning. I don't want to say painful, but it's like, I know they're out there. I feel them. If you can feel this connection, you don't know who it is or where it is, if it's on this side of the world or somewhere else, you just know it's out there. If you're not feeling that, then you could be blocked, or maybe you don't believe that, there's a twin flame out there. But I invite you to be more positive and put that intention out there of meeting your twin flame. Maybe you're content with being with a soulmate, and that's fine too. But if you really want this twin flame relationship, which is such an intense relationship, again, at its best and at its worst, then listen to these steps and see if you've already kind of gone through them with somebody. They could be your twin flame. So again, there's this awareness, that there's someone out there that shares your energetic connection with you. There's a real connection, like what you feel and hear is out there. It's kind of identical, right? So then there's the meeting. You actually meet somebody and there's this immediate connection with them. And it's like instant. It's a look in their eye, and just knowing that this person is going to be more to you than just this chance encounter. I can't even define it, because it's not so much a definable moment. Well, it's something you feel deep inside. It's the moment you interact with them, you know that it's not going to be a regular relationship. There's going to be more. You may not know it fully in that moment, but if you look back on it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So there's that. Then there's the phase where you guys get together and everything is fucking great. In fact, it's probably perfect. Everything is meaningful. There's positivity, no challenges. Good God, where have you been all my life? This is the easiest relationship I have ever had. We're giving passion. We love each other. We have fun, we have so many similarities, we're going out, we're doing this, we finish each other's sentences and you know, wiping each other's mouths after we eat, all this like throw up shit, right? I'm just kidding with you. It's great. No, it's really, it's great. It's why people call it the honeymoon phase, because it's new and it's beautiful and it's exciting. And then shit gets real. Shit gets real, real quick. Challenges, struggles, arguments, things that didn't piss you off before, now all of a sudden irk you to no fucking end. Why? Like, why? And there's this like up and down. It's like you know how to hit each other below the belt better than anybody on the fucking planet. All right. You, nobody in the world pisses you off as much as this person does. Now, some people would say, that doesn't sound very romantic. That doesn't sound like somebody I want to be with. But it's not so much because you know where to hit, and you do hit below the belt, you do. It's not so much that you know where to hit, it's because that other person loves you so fucking much that your words, more than anybody in the planet, stings so hard. And even though you don't mean it, it's because they love you so much that only you can do the damage, the pain that you cause. And anybody else that can say the same exact things to you or to them, they don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter. Whatever, brush it off, whatever. But you, they can hurt your very core because it's your mirror opposite. It's you. Those words that you're saying to them is their reflection hitting back at them. And it doesn't feel good. It causes them to not only rethink the relationship, but it causes them to rethink themselves. It causes you to rethink yourself. Well, if they think that, then I must be ... When in reality, it's probably just some really hurtful fucking words that you're both hitting each other. And so you're like, well, if they're going to say that, then I got to throw something equally as harsh, right? And that's all it really is. But it causes us to, like, stop. And instead of saying, why are we doing this? How can we make it better? We don't do that. We decide that we want to be hurt and we want to hold on to that hurt because maybe we deserve it, or maybe we want to believe that that person really doesn't love us, when in reality that could be further from the truth. See what I mean? You see how effed up this relationship really is, and you're like, you really want to find your twin flame? Trust me, it gets better, but there's a lot of shit going on. It really is these challenges, these arguments, these dings, these hitting below the belt is our souls needing to find what we need to work on. Now, as a human, that shit doesn't feel good. As a human, we want to get far away from that because relationships shouldn't be so chaotic, right? They should be loving. They should be understanding. They should have the best communication on the planet. Everything should be completely drama free, right? That's where we want to gravitate towards. Pause. What the hell are you learning from a relationship that is completely great from the very beginning? What lessons are you learning? Okay, we like to have fun. It's like the movie Coming to America when Hakeem is asking this bride to be what her likes are, and she's like, whatever you like. What kind of food do you like? Whatever food you like. Why do you want to be with someone who is so perfect that it almost seems fake? Like they were manipulating you. Think about that. A relationship that is truly spectacular pushes you to grow. A relationship that is not great keeps you stagnant. Like, really think about that. Yes, as humans, we want to be drama free as much as possible. And I'm not saying that that's not a good thing to strive for, to have a perfect relationship, although there is no such thing, but to have a good relationship, you know, a stress-free relationship, whatever you want to call it. Step aside, how does that relationship actually push you to grow? Just think about it. You don't have to tell me. I don't need to know. Anyway, the next phase is when your relationship is tested like nothing before. Tested so much that you may not be able to survive it, or at least you think that. And so you're tested. This is not what a relationship should feel like. This is not what I want in my life. There must be more out there. I want to be with someone who makes me smile 24/7, 365. Someone who's fake. Anyway, you know, and so if we don't figure out how to fix it in that relationship, let's talk about it, right? If we don't talk about it with our twin flame, then guess what we do? We run. Because if we can't talk to our twin flame, our mirror soul, and tell them how we feel and how we want to fix it, we look outside the relationship and we find something that we think makes us feel alive, makes us feel passion, makes us feel spiritually connected, makes us feel like we're young again. For those of us who are older, mature. And it makes us want to haul ass. And so if during this phase, if you can say, hey, I love you and I want to talk this out, then God bless you, do it. For the love of God, do it, okay? Because it is so worth it. But if you do decide that at this time, you need to find something elsewhere, don't be too hard on yourself. Why? I'll tell you later. Commercial break? No, I'm just playing. Okay, so you start thinking, you're getting tested, and you don't know what to do. Things were easier in the beginning. Why was everything so great? Why is it that we constantly are going through this up and down and da, 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 and you start overthinking things. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. There's some shit happening, okay? But did you stop and think about what I'm learning in this relationship with all this stuff going on? Now, again, if you're in a abusive relationship, or, you know, there's some type of control or codependent, then chances are it's not a twin flame. Leave, okay? But in a twin flame relationship, you may go through this a lot where you're constantly debating whether or not to stay in the relationship. And if you allow it to get to a point where you're no longer communicating with each other, then you get to the next phase where you want to leave. And so this is the phase where, you know, some people call it the chase, or, you know, you walk away and you believe that there is something else out there. You may not have found it, or you might have thought you found it or ran into it while you were still in the relationship. Again, don't judge, just hear me out here. You decide to walk away. Or maybe you've actually broken up multiple times already with this person. Again, don't judge it. There's going to be this push and pull. One person has had enough and wants to walk away. Now, if you're the other person who wants to fight it out, fight. Tell that person you love them and you don't want them to go, and that you want to work it out. Do all you possibly can. But if you feel you can't, and that person walks out of your life, there's a lesson in that. The lesson may be yours, it may be theirs. You both may have your own lessons. But if this is, in fact, your twin flame, then they'll be back. Only after you both have decided to accept each other 100%, flaws and all. Which brings us to our next phase, the surrender phase. This is when you say, I love that person no matter what, unconditionally. That means that every bad habit that you both have, you each have accepted that that's what it is. And you will deal with it because you love each other so effing much, it is worth it. That's not to say that we can't work on these bad habits together and fix them, because guess what? That's what twin flames do. They teach us to be better. They help us to learn these lessons. But what did I say? They help us to grow. So there are also those little nagging things that just aren't that serious, okay? Yes, I have learned that sometimes the toilet seat is okay to be up. Just look before you sit down, okay? You may not, these things may be a pain in the ass to you, but just know that there's a time and place for everything, and these things you can possibly work through. So surrender. Surrender that there are things that this person may need your help on. So instead of saying that they have these bad traits and you wish that they would fix them in order to make your relationship better, maybe you need to be the one to help them, or maybe you need to help guide them in the direction to help them, because twin flames, that's what we do, right? And I say we because I do believe that we all have the opportunity to find our twin flame. You may already know your twin flame and not know it, or you may, excuse me, there's some stuff going on in the background, but there are things that just aren't worth it, right? But then we get to the final phase. If you can put all of that shit behind you, and I'm talking about years of shit that went wrong, in your relationships. And I say that multiple, plural, because usually with your twin flame, you break up, you get back together, you break up, you get back together. You might do that multiple times over a long period of time, but there's a reason why you get back together. Think about that. Why is it that you get back together all the time? It's because that magnetic pull keeps pulling you back. They're home. There's a comforting feeling with them. There's this familiarity. There's similar things. You guys are going through same lessons. You may go through them at different times, but there's this, you know what I mean? This yin yang, these mirror opposites. There's just so many connections that you share. But if you can get past all of that, you can find your way back to each other. And believe me when I tell you that you can find your way back to each other, and most likely you will find your way back to each other. I guarantee you, if you can put all of that shit behind you or come up with a game plan to work on it so that your relationship is on point. Now, I'm not talking about that fake one that feels so good. It feels so good that it's almost too good to be true type of thing. Like, oh, wow, you like that? Oh, so do I. That's your favorite color? Oh, yeah, that's mine too. Like, feel into that. Yeah, just feel into that. I'll just say that. But with a twin flame, you're going to have the ups and downs because you're here to help each other grow. But if you can put that shit aside, your relationship, because it is meant to be intense, your passion, high spirit, see, your passion will be so intense. Your love for each other will be so intense. Your growth will be so intense. Everything about it will be so much more magnetic than any relationship you have ever had in your whole entire life. And you'll know because they always feel like home to you. Always feel like home. And so I hope some of this resonates with you, because maybe your twin flame is right there and you didn't realize it. Maybe you thought, damn, why is it so hard to be in this relationship? I know I love them. I know I have feelings, but I can't deal with this shit. I'm going to do another Coming to America. It's probably your twin flame that has been there the whole entire time. And one thing I want to tell you that tends to happen in relationships with twin flames, especially when you're breaking up and coming back together, breaking up and coming back together, you'll notice that sometimes your lessons are almost identical to each other, but they may happen at different times. So you may leave the relationship because you feel like there's too much arguing, there's too much of this just doesn't feel easy for me. And so you leave the relationship to go to something that seems like, oh, this is passion, this is that, right? And then you learn a lesson that was not what you needed. That is not at all what you needed. You thought you needed it, but the grass is not always greener. Like I've recently was told, the grass is greener where you put in the work, right? So you think you're going to go over there because everything feels easy. It feels good, right? Heads up. Guarantee you that relationship is actually going to end up way worse than your twin flame relationship, because that's the lesson. You have to go through that relationship to find out that what the fuck, everything I needed was always right there. And then you get back together, right? Things are good for a little bit. Then all of a sudden things start getting rocky again. Now, the other person is like, I don't know. This doesn't feel right to me. So they leave the relationship to find better. But remember what I said. You're going to learn the same lesson just at different times. So guess what lesson they're going to learn? You're going to learn a hard lesson, or they're going to learn a hard lesson just like you did. The grass isn't always greener. And sometimes there are people out there who will pretend, who will manipulate you and make you feel like they are the best person on the planet. Spirit. But heads up, because your twin flame will love you and will protect you and fight for you more than anybody on this planet. They will fight harder for you than your parents, than your children, than your best friends. They will fight even behind the scenes because they are your other half. That whole "you complete me" thing may sound stupid, and you don't need a person to complete you, but a twin flame will give you the tools you need to complete yourself. Listen to that. Your twin flame will give you the tools via all the lessons, all the arguments, all the fights, all the makeup sex, all of that will be to help you figure out how to complete yourself. Do your relationships make you or push you to figure out how you can complete yourself? Because if they don't, think about that. Anyway, so this other person is going to learn their lesson, and they're going to learn a very hard lesson, just like you learned a very hard lesson. But don't be too hard on yourself, either one of you, because you need to learn that lesson in order to realize that you had the one the whole entire time. But you thought that all of this back and forth meant that you weren't supposed to be together. But if you didn't have such passion within your hearts, within your souls, it wouldn't have been that intense in the first place. So if you can find this twin flame, and if they've gone, don't feel bad, because they'll be back. Because one thing you can rely on is that you will find your way back to each other, because you're magnetic. You have a soul connection, a psychic connection, a karmic connection that cannot be severed by anything or anyone. So set your intent that you will find your way back to each other, that you will find your twin flame if you haven't, and just remember these signs. Remember these signs, remember the stages, and see if this resonates with you. And I hope, I really hope you all find your twin flame. It's a beautiful, crazy, insane, tumultuous, passionate, all of the adjectives that you could possibly think of. It's all of that and then some. But one thing you'll never, ever doubt is the love. The love. Because they will love you more than anybody on the planet. And so I hope that resonates with you. Soulmates, twin flames, totally different things. Both can be romantic relationships, both can be not romantic relationships, but there's a difference. We're all connected via the soul family, the soul contract, the soul group, all of that. And you'll know right away, I won't say right away, but you'll know when somebody is not in your soul group. There's just certain things that just don't add up. You are special, you're appreciated, you deserve love. Set your intention for that, okay? I wish you all the best. Please make sure you subscribe, like, and share, especially this video, because love is something that we all strive for. And sometimes we confuse challenges to mean that it's not meant for us, but challenges push us to grow. So I'm going to leave that with you. Again, subscribe, like, and share. And if you want a reading with me, you can book a reading with me at KimmyAngelique.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all social media. And I hope to see you real soon.